Hey, my Pilates friends. I got a request to do a workout that was wrist-free. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here today. I won't waste too much time on the intro. This workout is suitable for everybody, but it's especially for anybody who cannot put pressure on their hands. When you're ready, roll out your mat and join me. Once you're down on your mat, take a deep breath in, exhale fully, and just let gravity kind of take over your body, allowing you to center within your body and on your mat. Take another breath in, nice and long inhale, exhale all that air out. Use that exhale to help you pull together into the center line of your body and get that start to get a connection into your core space or your powerhouse. I'm going to start with some really gentle movements to start opening up the lower back and stimulating your core. From this position, start to bring your right knee up directly above the hip. Maybe you flex the foot, and as you inhale, lower the leg down. Make sure your glute is working as you do so. And then the left side comes up, just lifting the leg, and we're just marching it into tabletop position and then lowering down. Now you want to try your best to keep the angle in the knee joint and the stability of your pelvis and around your spine. So really think about hugging all the muscles in your midsection into your spine as you exhale to lift your knee up to tabletop and inhale to lower down. Let's do 4 more. Exhaling, inhaling. With every exhale, pull the abdominals in a little deeper. The shoulders are heavy. The hands are heavy on the mat underneath you. Try to keep a neutral or balance between both sides of your body and your shoulders. And bring the legs back down and bring the feet together. Now we're going to go open with the knees and then pull from the core to bring the knees back into that center space. Again, open the knees out, keep the heels or the feet together, pull from your core to bring everything in. 3 more times. Inhaling to open. Every time you come back into center, make a deeper connection into that mid or that core of your body. Inhaling, exhaling, pulling everything in. Let's do 1 more. Inhale, open the legs. Maybe you start to find a little bit of inner thigh as well, and you bring everything in. Now we're going to start to do a couple of knee sways, taking the knees over to one side, just enough to get your hip to lift off the floor and pull from the core to bring everything back in. So I know it looks more like my legs are moving or they're doing the main movement, but in actual fact, the energy is coming from my midsection. When the knees come back into center, I'm pulling the navel deeply into the mat underneath me. And let's do that again. Leaning over to one side, letting the opposite hip just about lift off the floor, and then pulling back in to the midsection. Now, if you notice that you're swaying really quickly, ask yourself honestly, where is that energy coming from? Are you working from the space around your navel, or are you just kind of using momentum and the feet to lean the legs side to side? So really think about working from here to take the legs across, and even more from that midsection to bring the knees back in. And just like the last couple of exercises, the shoulders are pretty heavy on the mat. They never lift, and you're staying just balanced with your torso as your knees sway. After this, we'll do 1 more set. So going back to that original side, leaning the knees, pulling from the core to come back in, and gently sway over to the other side and pull back in to the center. Really nice. Bring your legs up into a tabletop position and just let your heels drop into your backside. And you want the feet to be really heavy here. Arms are easy on the mat beside you. On your inhale, gently let the feet float towards the floor. They don't have to touch the mat. What you want to think about is your spine staying in position and not arching. And now pull deeply from your core to bring the knees back in towards you. It's almost like the knees are just kind of tipping forward and the feet are just following or kind of going along, and you're pulling back in to your center from your core. Lean the knees away and pull in deeply to bring them back. Check your shoulders, check your neck, make sure there's no tension building up there. all the effort should be coming from your core. And if you find that the upper body is kind of kicking in to help the core, make that movement a little bit smaller. Let's do 2 more. Just lowering the knees or stretching them slightly forward, pulling from the core to come back in. Last one. Really feel everything in your torso ground down to the mat as you pull the knees back in towards you. Really nice. Last thing I'm going to do here for these, warm up or starter movements is some really gentle knee circles. Now, if it hurts your wrist to place your hand on your knees, you don't have to. You can keep them to the side. But I'm hoping that this is not going to put pressure on too many people's wrists. So the hands are on the kneecaps, and you're using the hands to guide your knees over to the right side, and then stretching the knees forward to the tailbone and pulling across the left. Use your core, just like you did earlier, to pull your knees back into center. Then we take it over to the left. Gently lean to the left. You might feel your right hip kind of just lift off the floor. Stretch forward to the tailbone. The belly is pulling in like crazy to make sure that the spine is not overly arching, and you're pulling across to the right side and then back into the core or back into the center with your core. Take it over to the right, gently lean, take it across, and then pull in with your core and the hands. Nice. Take it across to the left. We'll do 1 more set after this one. Really circle over to your tailbone. So it's almost like a little massage for the low back, but it's led from the center of your body, and you bring the knees back in, deeply hugging with your navel. Last set. Over to the right side. Massage across the right hip. Stretch your core into your tailbone as you go to the front and pull in across the left. And we do that again to the other side. Lean it over to the left. Go forward to the tailbone, across to the right, and then pull in to the core. Really nice. Take the knees out nice and wide. Give yourself a gentle rock side to side. Again, if your wrists hurt just for holding onto the shins, you can always let the hands come to the side of the body. Now, hands or no hands. I find hands help me. But again, you can hold them here to the side. But you're going to start to pull the tailbone in towards your face. I know you might not be able to see it, but my tailbone is light on the mat. And then gently let that tailbone come back down. So use the low abdominals to pull the tailbone in and towards you, and then gently lower back down. 1 more time. Pull in. We're just trying to find a little bit of length in the tailbone. I'm about to take you all into the 100, and we gently lower back down. And it kind of helps with the 100 to get that little bit of extra length beforehand. Now, you have so many options for leg positions. You can have your feet on the floor. You can have the legs extended out at an angle. I'm going to stretch my legs up to the ceiling to start and reach the arms out. Again, I'm hoping that this doesn't place any pressure on your wrist, but if you have like a serious issue where you can't even move the arm, maybe just pump with the opposite side. So you pump with whatever hand is not an issue. Otherwise, reach nice and long. Pumping the arms. Think about the navel pulling into spine. Take a deep breath in. Exhale for 5 counts. Inhaling for 5 and exhaling. Now, if you feel pretty good here, and you want to find a little bit more effort, or you want to find a little bit more work, you have the option to curl up and look into the abdominals. Keep stretching into your toes as you pump those arms. Let's take 4 more cycles of breath. And you can always lower those legs to a lower angle for more challenge if you want to. Last 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull in 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull in more 2, 3, 4, 5. You can bring your legs back up to the ceiling as the head comes down and give your knees a little hug from side to side. All right, now hands or no hands, just rock up into a seated position for me. And I usually teach this holding on to the thighs, but today I'm going to teach this with the arms just reaching out, and we're going into half a roll down. And you can maybe use your fingertips, so as long as it doesn't bother you, maybe you kind of push your fingertips into your belly button, and that sometimes helps you find where the effort is coming from as well. So we're going to pull the navel into spine, and imagine your hands are a hot poker, and you're pulling the belly button away from that poker, but at the same time stretching your feet forward and the tailbone under you. And now pull deeper in to bring yourself up. One thing to watch out for is the shoulders. They love to hike up. Make sure they're nice and relaxed. So pull the abdominals in. Good. Tailbone forward, toes reaching, and then pull in deeper to come up. I saw my toes lifting, so I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer. Try to keep the balls of the big toes together if you can, but you know, it's not a punishable offense to separate the feet. Pull in deeply, hug the inner thighs if the inner thighs are together, relax the shoulders, tailbone forward, and pull in deeper to come up. Good. 2 more times. Half roll down, going back, pulling away with your navel, and then reaching or pulling in deeply to come up. I'll keep my hands out for this last one. I'm going to draw the navel back. Now that I kind of know where the effort is coming from, draw the navel back, hold it. Now let's see. Maybe you give me another pump with those arms. Inhaling and exhaling. Now can you keep pumping and keep rolling? Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, all the way down to the mat. That was just like a little bit extra, and sometimes it's fun to kind of change things up a little bit. All right, let's do the one leg circle. And again, you have the option to keep the legs straight on the floor, but I'm going to bend my left knee today, extending the right leg up into the ceiling, pointing the right toes. And what I'm really focusing on is keeping both of my hips heavy on the mat. Take your right leg across the body, circle the leg forward, but really resist the leg going too low, and then bring it back in. If you can, pause at the top. Go across the body, forward and around, and back up. Good. Keep both of your hips heavy. It's almost like you're trying to keep the weight balanced between both sides of your body as you move that leg. If you notice, I'm trying really hard to keep my left knee completely still as I'm moving my right leg. A last one in this direction, and then let's change directions 5 times. Take it out to the side, around, pull from the core. Good. Out, around, find the core, drag it in. Here's 3, drag it in. 2, drag it in. Good. Last one, drag it in, and bring that knee into the chest. Give it a hug if you can. Again, if your wrist is an issue, you can just do with the good side. And then change legs. The right leg comes down, the left leg goes up. We do 5 in either direction, stabilizing everything but the moving leg. Work from the core to pull the leg back in. Here's 2, pull back in. 3, pull back in. Good. 4, and it doesn't have to be a massive circle. What it needs to be is a controlled one. And then pause at the top. Other way. I find what really helps me is to push the big toe down into the mat on that grounded leg and to reach into the big toe of my top leg. I don't know, if you guys are like me, your glutes are burning here even though that leg is not moving much. It is trying so hard to stay stable. Last one, circle out around, back in, bend that knee into the chest, and hug it in nice and deep. Now I'm hoping you guys are okay with doing rolling like a ball. So again, we're gonna roll up into a seated position, or rock up into a seated position. Bring the knees in. Now if you find that holding onto the shins is too much, just let go and maybe touch fingertips at the front. Just balance on the sit bones. Don't worry about rolling back. There's plenty of work here. In fact, I sometimes teach students to come forward and lift. You can just drop the feet down and lift. I promise you your core will still have to kick in. So you make that rounding shape and you lift and lower the feet. However, if you're okay holding onto your shins, you can lift up, and 3 times. We're gonna pull the navel back so much that we rock back and rock up. Good. 2, roll back, rock up. Last one, roll back, rock up, pause at the top, maybe stretch the legs and bring them down. Really nice. All right, let's take it down to the mat and we'll do our ab series, or a series of 5 here, hands free. All right, arms, just gently reach out, shoulders are hugging the mat. Pull the right knee into the chest, stretch the left leg away. Think about stretching your tailbone to the leg and trying to touch your face with your bent knee. And then switch, reach. I'm gonna do this a little bit slower than I might normally do this because I'm focusing on that two-way stretch and using my core to pull the knee in. Oh my gosh, I'm working so hard that I'm starting to cramp in my feet. Pull in as you stretch. Pull in as you stretch. Really resist your extended leg going limp and dropping to the floor. Stretch it across the room. Pull the navel to spine as you stretch that leg away. The last 4, 3, 2. Think about pulling deeper each time and bring both knees into the chest. The head is gently pressing down, shoulders hug the mat, heels are together, toes maybe a little apart, and we stretch out and pull in. Press your heels together as you stretch out. Try to keep your spine from moving, so keep it completely stable. Pull in, bring the knees in, maybe you lift the tailbone. Reach out, pull the legs in, lift the tailbone just a touch. Reach, knees come in, tailbone lifts, shoulders stay heavy. Last 1, bring it in, tailbone, and then stretch the legs up to the ceiling for scissors. You're going to flex your feet for me, so really reach the heels away. Drop your right leg, try to hug your mat with your right leg, switch from your core. Switch from your core, good. Switch. Switch. You're pressing that extended leg down into where the heel is pressing down. Top leg is reaching and pressing up. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Both legs come in. Now, if it doesn't bother your fingers, you can place them underneath your sit bones. I'm going to keep my hands out for today and just think about stretching into the tailbone for the double leg lower lift. Point your toes as much as you can, really reaching into the big toe. If you notice, my toes are separated, so you want to keep a gap between the toes versus cramping them up. Lower the legs down to the point where you can still keep length in your spine. Flex your feet. Pull in from the core to come in. Reach, flex or stretch, and flex to come in. One more like this. Point, reach, flex, come in. Let's reverse that. Lower with flexed feet, point, pull in, good. Lower with flexed feet, point, pull in from your core. Lower, flex feet, and the effort to return the legs is coming from that midsection, so your hands are light on the floor underneath you. All right, last little bit. We're going to do our crisscross or version. It's not really the crisscross, but we're going to do a version of it. Take the hands out to about, this wide V or T shape. Shoulders are heavy. Bring your knees into tabletop. Now lean your legs as far as you can over to the right side. Pull back over to the other side or to the center and then the other side. Leaning across further than we did earlier, and we're going to drag in, really feel your whole lower back on the floor as you go across. Reach over to the right, go as far as you can without falling, and then pull in from your center to bring the legs back. Good. Take it to the left, leaning. Now we might add on just a little bit more, so you can add in a little turn of the head as the legs go across. Maybe you take your gaze to the other side, and then we return everything to center as we come back. Taking the gaze over to the other side, pull in from your center, bring it back. One last add-on. We have 4 more reps. Lean, stretch the legs, pull the legs in to center, and bend them. Lean them over to the left, stretch your legs out, drag in with extended legs. So when you make that lever a little bit longer, it makes it harder. You have more weight to pull back in. Bend it in. Last 2. Take it over to the right, extend your legs, work from the core to bring it back to center. Good. Last one. Bend to lean, lengthen the legs. Good. Drag from your core to bring it back in, and then let the legs come all the way down. Hopefully you guys felt that deeply in your midsection. If you felt it in your spine, I would say just stay with the bent knees as you go side to side and make that movement even smaller than you did before. All right, let's go into our spine stretch forward, which is the next exercise in the classical series. And I mainly teach the classical series, so a lot of what you'll see from me is variations of that series, if not the actual series itself. All right, so the heels reach forward, and you want to engage your butt muscles. So you want to be active, but at the same time, pressing down through the heels. Now imagine you have somebody pulling the belly back, and you're trying to reach forward at the same time. What we're trying to avoid is collapsing from the hips. You want to pull the tailbone back, the navel back, and find a stretch in your spine, and then use that stretch in your spine to help you sit up taller than you started out. Good. Pull the navel in, shoulders relax, reach those ribs nice and long, up and over into your fingertips, and now pull back, tailbone to the mat, belly button to the space behind you, pull the ribs in, upper back lengthens as you sit tall. One more. Reach forward, good. Relaxing those shoulders, pull the navel back, tailbone back, and we sit up nice and tall to finish. Good. Take your hands out to the side, and we're going to go into a twist. Let me adjust because of all my little plants that are here. We're going to take the hands out to the side. Imagine you're pressing down onto two really big bouncy balls. So you want to feel a connection into the side of your back. And again, we pull the navel into spine so that we're nice and long through the spine. You can take your legs out a little wider. Twist over to the right side. Stretch like you're trying to saw off your pinky toe. Now as you reach your left fingers to your right foot, draw the left hip back down to the mat and stack it up to sit tall. Twist to the other side, pull the navel in. Now this hip is pulling down as I reach over to try and saw off my toe. And then drag it up. So we want to avoid kind of rocking the hips in order to reach. You want to keep this movement in the spine. Twist, drag that hip down, really resist it rocking, and reach to saw off that toe. Let's go with a little bit more rhythm. 4 more. Twist, reach, sit up tall. Twist and reach, sit up tall. Good. Twist, reach, sit up tall. Work from the core. Twist, reach, pull from the core to sit up tall. And you bring your hands down to the sides. Let's lay it back down onto our mats. We're going to do a little bit of swan work. And again, I'm going to go as wrist-free as I possibly can. You're going to take your hands out into a cactus shape. And what this means is that your elbows are going to be in line with your shoulders, and your wrists are going to be in line with your elbows. So your head is kind of the center of the cactus, and your arms are the branches of the cactus. Reach your legs out long behind you and think about pulling the navel off the mat underneath you. Now we're going to start with the arms first. Lift the arms off the mat until you feel your shoulder blades glide together, and then gently lower them down. Keep the belly off the mat. So if I had a torch, I should be able to shine like a tiny ray of light underneath your belly. You're going to lift the arms up, shoulder blades glide together, and then gently lower down. Good. Lift, find your breath, and lower down. One more. Lift the arms, and gently lower. Now keep the arms down, but think about finding that same energy in the upper back where the shoulder blades glide together. Lift slightly with the head. Draw the shoulder blades together to find a little lift. The belly is still pulling in like crazy, and we gently lower down. Now if this bothers your wrists, you can always take your hands off the mat and lift with just the elbows on the mat. And then gently lower. Good. Try to keep the skin in the back of your neck really long. We have one more. So my rib cage is staying down right now. I'm just focusing on pulling that core in, finding that lift, and lowering. Good. You're going to stack your hands one on top of the other. I'm hoping this doesn't bother anyone. But if it does, go back to your cactus shape and just do another set of what we just did. Otherwise, one hand stacks on top of the other. Elbows are out to the side. Imagine your forehead is glued to your hands, and you're going to lift your elbows an inch off the floor. Pull the belly in deeply. Shoot into those legs. Find a lift. It's not a big one, but there's still a lot going on. 2 more times. Inhale. Find that lift. Find your back strength. and lower. Good. Core strength, upper back, spinal mobility, so much going on. And gently lower. One more time. Inhale and exhale. All right. Come up to your forearms. Lift the hips and just kind of stretch back. Oh, my mic is so close now. Stretch back around. Oh, I forgot arms. Just let them rest by your side, but still keep the belly pulling away from the thighs as you round over your legs. Good. We're going to roll it over onto our back, and this is possibly my favorite way to do a pelvic lift at the moment, so hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. Inner thighs are going to come together. Arms are long by the side. Let's just start by lifting just the tailbone. So you're going to lift just one vertebrae off the mat. It's super small, super light, and then press that vertebrae back down, release. And again, you're going to lift. If your wrists bother you here, you can make low fists and press your elbows down, and then gently lower. Let's go a little higher. Focus on pulling the inner thighs together. And I know when I say that, I see people do something like this, feet are apart. No, feet together, inner thighs together. Press the elbows down so you feel that connection into your back. Lift the hips. Keep stretching into your knees with your tailbone and pull down from your chest to your mid-back to your low back. Now you can do a couple more like that, but I'm going to move on to what I was telling you was my favorite. Arms are going to go along by the side body. You're going to start to peel the tailbone off, and as you do so, lift the arms. Lift, 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 lift. Reach the arms all the way back at the top, and then gently pull the arms back in. Drag your spine into the mat as you lower down. In my body, this feels really, really yummy. And sometimes I wonder if it's because I have mild scoliosis, but I'm hoping it feels the same for you too. Lifting the arms, pulling the belly button in, stretching, and then dragging, dragging, dragging everything down to the mat. Good. 2 more times. Inhale, reaching, hug those inner thighs. Don't let them separate. I know they want to. And drag back down to the mat. Last time. This time you're going to hold it up. So reach it back, lift your hips, arms reach, and just lift your right leg off the floor. Hold it there for 5 counts. 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop. Oh my gosh. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And bring it in. I don't know what it is with my left hamstring, but something must have happened in there at some point because it really doesn't like that pelvic lift. Give yourself a little stretch here. It's well deserved. You can reach the right leg or the left leg long. You know, if you only have one good hand, pull the top leg in with your good hand. Try to keep your shoulders heavy, and then switch sides. Other leg comes in. Find that stretch again. Shoulders heavy as you pull the top leg in. All right, so I think we're ready for the side kick series, which you can absolutely do wrist-free. Lengthen the right arm out, stretch your hips back onto your mat, and just relax the head. Now, you don't even really need this top hand, so if your top hand is not so great, you can always just rest it on your hip, or you can place it behind the head. You just have to work harder from the core that way. The legs go forward. Good. And the first thing we're going to do is find the connection to our core and to our bottom leg, most importantly. So lift your top leg up, and as much as you're lifting your top leg, you're pressing your bottom leg through your mat. And gently let that top leg come down. Lift, pull the belly in, and gently let it come down. Hopefully you feel that press into the mat of your heel and the outer edge of your bottom foot. Keep it still, even if it means your movements are really small as you go forward and back. Forward, pull back. 3 more, pull back. 2 more, pull back. Last one, pull back, and bring your legs back in together. You can always just rest your top hand here. It feels really weird for me to have it behind my back, so I'm just going to have it on my side. You're going to point your toes, top leg, lift, drag, lower down. Lift, drag it, lower down. Last 3, drag it. Try to get that leg longer than the bottom leg each time you lower. 2, drag it. Last 1, drag it. Hold it here. Now imagine that you have breadcrumbs in between your thighs, And you're just giving those breadcrumbs, you're trying to swipe them off that inner thigh, circling the leg one way. You can let your foot go fairly limp in that top leg. Keep the bottom foot pressing down through your mat and reverse it 5 times. 1, 2, belly in, 3, 4, 5. Give that glute a little tap. That's all I'm going to do for today. I'm going to flip it to the other side. You have the option just to roll over if you kind of know where we're going. I'm going to flip it so I stay facing into the camera. Feet to the front of the mat. Bottom arm long. Hand on top of the hip. Take a breath in, and we do exactly the same thing on this side. 3 times. Lift that top leg. Lower it down. The bottom leg is pressing into the mat. Try to find that core connection. We lift and we press in. Now on this one, hold it up. Make sure you're nice and stable. Leg is stable. You're going to kick forward, pull back. Kick forward. Now on this side, it's much harder for me. Forward, pull back. Good. Last 2, pull back. Last 1, pull back. Good. Leg back down. Point your toes, lift, drag, or flex to lower. Lift, flex, and drag. Good. 3, flex and drag. 2, flex it. Last 1, flex and drag. Breadcrumb off your thighs. So you're going to swipe your thigh, just brushing off those breadcrumbs. Last 2 in this direction. Last 1, and reverse. 1, 2, find your core. 3, 4, 5. All right, give that glute a little bit of a tap. And let's come up into a seated position. We'll just take some final stretches to finish our little workout. So come up into your seat. You're going to take your left hand down to your mat. Right arm comes up and overhead. Take a stretch over to the left side. Press your right hip down. Bring it back into center. And let's do the other side. Reach and bring it in. Taking your left hand to your right knee. Take a twist over to the right side. Just look behind you. Bring it back into center. Let's go to the other side. Again, your hands don't really have to be involved with this. And bring it in. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and it kind of showed you some of the options that you can take if you're having issues putting pressure on your wrists. If you have any more questions, or if you'd like to see a couple more moves sort of included in, into the Pilates routine that are wrist-free, send me a message. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. But until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you then. Bye.